Hello. That's my best April Fool's joke. That's all I got. Hello. All right. So, welcome. Good morning, everybody. Get your coffee ready. So today I was thinking that I'll work on some of my pipeline stuff. I can show you what I have now. It works. It's a working pipeline. But as soon as I thought to add some flexibility to it, I realized I can't the way it's written. So we're going to totally redo my testing automation, how my module's built. Once it's built, I do some post tests. And then if the version's newer, I ship my module out the door. So I can show you what that looks like now, and we'll work through how to restructure this automation stuff. So let's jump into it. As usual, if anyone has any questions, just send them my way. So I currently have a pipeline on both of my modules, Admin Toolkit and Help Desk, where now it's on a pull request. Basically, if I merge code into master and that merged code has a version that is newer than the version that's published on the PowerShell gallery, kicks off my test, build, and publish, and it'll automatically publish a new version of the module out for the interwebs. So I would like to add some flexibility to this because I also want tests, building, and post tests to happen on every pull request, whether it's a new version or not. Right now, my tests only happen when it's a new version, but I'd like to test all code that comes in as it comes in, whether I'm publishing or not, obviously. So the way it works right now, if I pull this up, let me make this bigger probably. Okay. So I've got just one build script, and even my GitHub pipeline, when there's a pull request, run my build script, and it handles everything. Well, I don't like that because I want to do other stuff and I need other files. And instead of duplicating code, I want to make my code modular and extract it out and whatnot. So anyway, so I just run this giant, I'm going to make this smaller, this giant build file, which this is deceiving because it does more than just build. It tests, builds, tests, and publishes. So it does everything. I'd like to split this out into separate steps. Let me shrink all these extra little functions quick. Okay, so here's the whole function, basically, or the whole build. Is it, first it checks the version of the module in GitHub, in source control, against what's published. And if that check comes back true or false, true meaning I just committed a new version in GitHub, so I better build and publish a new version. So if that's false, it doesn't do anything. No tests, nothing. So that's kind of what I'd like to change is I need to pull out the testing so that I can test elsewhere in other pipelines and things. But so let's say I, commit a new version. This comes back true, and okay, start to pre-build tests. So my module has, it's got two structures. It's got the structure that lives in source control. So I've got functions broken out. I've got my arg completers and public functions, and each function's in its own file. So I've got this whole structure. It tests this structure, and assuming it's in the structure, it does X, Y, Z. So that's what it does here. And then if those all pass, then it builds the module. And building the module is basically taking all those, 30 files, 30 separate functions, and bringing it into one file. Now I'm going to run this in a sec and I'll show you what it means. But basically building the module is remove all this structure and just give me the two files, the module manifest and then the module file, which basically copies and pastes all those function files into one file, which helps load the module faster and whatnot. So that's building the module. Once it's built, then I have few tests that test against the built module. So again, all that structure is gone. You've got 2 files, run a couple tests on those. And if that passes, then publish the module. Now I've added some testing clauses in here. So let's say I don't want to publish, I'm testing locally, don't publish this, but run all the tests and builds and everything. It'll do that. And then I have this do not clean up. So by default, when I build the module, I make a new folder and I copy the built version of the module into that new folder. Well, if I want to manually look at what's going on, the script by default will delete that extra folder. Just clean up all the built files and things. So there's a lot of features in here, and I'd like to break these out into separate things. Let me run this quick. Build, and I'm going to say do not publish and do not clean up. So this will, this is not. Let me just put some garbage in here. It's not going to get used. Okay, starting build process. So it's going to make, I believe it's called, oh yeah, see, it does this version check. So right now I can only test if it's got a new version. Let me make a new version here. I'm not going to save this. But let's pretend like I'm on version 1.0.10. Now when I run this, it's going to say, oh, my local file is newer than what's in the PowerShell gallery. So now it will actually run some pester tests. I don't know, there's 400 or something. Once it passes those tests, it builds the module. And it looks like a post test failed. So great, we've got some results. But it left the module out here. So let me just open this up. Like this. So here's the module, and then it makes this built version admin toolkit _build. That's just where I put it. And then inside of here is the actual built version, which is just the 2 files. So if we crack this open with VS Code, I don't know why it's not the default already. All right, so all of those separate files here, all these functions are now in this one giant file. And this goes all the way down to, 2,500 lines because it's all in one file. What did it yell about? Oops. My test yelled about something. All functions should import successfully. I bet it's yelling about the SU command, which is fine, but one test failed. Okay, yep, did not pass post build test. So this is basically what I want GitHub to do, is pull the tests out of this giant, monolithic single pipeline so that I can run these tests elsewhere. And it looks like it's working. This error isn't very good. Clear ARP. Okay. It's basically making sure that every function I'm saying should be here is actually there. Clear ARP, CCM cache, blah, blah, blah. And I think the list continues, but I'm not sure why it wouldn't be here. I wonder if it's this. Anyway, the tests work. So let's just focus on basically this build script. Build. I would like to, so all these functions that I'm using down here, build module, publish this module, all this stuff is just functions that I've written up here. So build module. I want to pull these out into a separate file so that other pipelines can use these functions. So I'm actually going to do that right now very easily. I don't want environment. Let me just grab the functions. I will make a new file called buildhelpers.psm1. Paste all these in here. And I don't think I need to export. Let's come in here. Let me save. Here we go. Oh, cool. It exports them anyway. So yeah, so now all those helper functions are in a separate file. So I can reference them elsewhere by just importing. Now I just made a module called build helpers. And it's got all these in here. All of these. So that's good. So we've got that. I want a separate file. There's basically four different things that I do. Pre-tests, build, post-tests, and the actual release. Well, I guess in the version check too. That could probably be its own thing as well. Well, I could probably just include that in the release. Okay, so what I'll need to do a couple things. So I need to change the scripts themselves. And then I also need to change my pipelines in GitHub, which are just these YAML files. So I'll need a couple. I'll need a YAML for like pull request testing. And that will include pre-test, build, post-test scripts. So I'll have them all individually. Yeah, I want a workflow for all pull requests to go through checks. A workflow for all pull requests into master specifically will also go through a release check. So check the version, if it's newer and it passed the PR tests thing, then go ahead and release it. So a couple things that we're gonna change here quick. So since those are gone, I can remove their definitions from here and just say import module. From right here. Actually, I need to do a join path here. Yeah. Join path. PS script root with this text. And the reason for this is this runs on Linux. I can't manually include the slash. So anyway, okay. I might run into issues like with that stuff elsewhere too. No, this was already being built on Ubuntu. So all my path references to things should already, yeah, I've already got that covered. So, okay. No other path issues. Yeah, but now that I'm doing this, it's as if I have those functions defined right there. So that's cool. Now other things can import those functions and use them as well. Okay, so just doing that. Oops, we're good there. I'm gonna need more files. So I want a new file for pre-build tests. PS1. So this is going to be start pre-build tests. Yes, okay. I need to do the same thing, so I need to do that import. Just copy it because I'm lazy. Where's it? Pre-build tests. Here we go. So import all those helper functions, and then I will have the start pre-build tests, which module pester, and then yeah, so it's also looking. Ooh, I'm gonna have to fix this, aren't I? Yep, I'm gonna have to bring this as well. It makes a variable that I need elsewhere. Yeah, so that should be fine. This sets some stuff. Make sure pester's installed, and if it's not, it installs pester 5. So cool. All right. So I should just need this. And I think all that does is come back true or false. Start pre-build. Yeah. So it runs all the pester stuff, and this output should show on the screen because I have a pass through. So it'll show up in like the GitHub logs and whatever. And on this invoke pester, because I have pass through, I get additional objects back. I get an object back, and one of the properties on there is result, and that either says passed or failed. And so then if it's passed, this function just literally it returns some output, you know, the test results, but it's actually just returning a Boolean, true or false. So technically, when you run this script will just return true or false. Maybe this should be a function too. No parameters. Oops. What am I doing? There we go. So this also will just return true or false. Output type. Wow, what's going on? So this tells PowerShell the only thing it can return is something of this type. If I tried to write some strings or return a hash table or something, PowerShell won't allow it. So it's sort of just a best practice. If you know it's just supposed to return a Boolean, you can declare that. So it just helps your code act as expected. Okay, so pre-build tests. Let's make a build. I've already got build. Let me rename this to like full release pipeline. Wow. Full release pipeline. Cool. So we've got the pre-build. Now I can make the actual build. This will be come into, all I'm doing is, yeah, just calling this function. Now where is build? Here it is. Oh, weird. Let me restart. I'm getting this weird error. I just have to restart my my PowerShell session. It should go away. Cool. Okay, let's make sure what's actually going on inside of build module. I'm just making sure it doesn't expect any parameters or, yeah, it expects module name, but it gets that down here, right? Where's that at? Okay, somewhere this is getting defined. Oh, it's up here. Okay. But that only exists in this file. So I think I'm gonna have to pull this out. And put it in the module here. So script my root. Oops. Okay, so we've got that taken care of. So what this syntax here, so it's just a variable called module name, but you can append this there's some keywords that you can slap at the beginning of module or variable names that discern the scope of the module. So if I want to make like a global variable, you can put global here. Script is one of them. This module can be used anywhere in the context of this file. Well, all of these functions are referencing it. So just a lazy way of, I don't want to have to pass that variable all over the place. It's basically global to this script, but I couldn't use it outside the script. So that's what that is. So there's global, script, function is one of them. But that's used for function scoping. But for variable scoping, then there's the using. So I think in my last video we went over if you're running a command remotely, like in a script block on a server that you ship some code off, you need to reference a variable that lives here on this, the origin machine. You can put the using, and that tells the remote server, oh, I better go back to where I came from, grab a variable, and pull it into this scope. Why can't the variable be passed elsewhere? Yeah, I just don't want to have to, so all these references here, like here, start, for example, let's find that function. Start pre-build tests. It uses, so instead of making this a parameter, this my root, which is just like a folder path. I don't know if it uses module name. No, it doesn't. So instead of making this a parameter and passing it in, I just sort of define it as a variable I can use anywhere. So here, if I didn't do this script scoping for the variables, I would have to like provide that as a parameter And then somehow I'd have to get that value into all of these separate files. So if I just include them in the module, you know, at the bottom, all these functions can access these variables. So I just define them once in the module, and then I don't have to worry about all my references and what variables are getting used all over the place, since I'm splitting all these into separate files. As long as I import this module, all that information comes with it. So just because I'm lazy, you could do this differently. Okay, so we've got this that works. Well, I guess I need to prove it works. Build, pre-build tests. Perfect. So it imported this, which is this function, and it got all the paths and the name and everything, so I know that that works. Now I can call these files individually, and they're all going to work because they're all referencing this module, which comes with functions and variables and things. So that's cool. Since this is basically done, yeah, it just returned true or false. So if I were to rebuild success, if I did this, we get some output to the screen, right, or to the logs or whatever. But as far as PowerShell is concerned, the only item it returned was true. And so that got captured. Rebuild success, true or false. So that's how I can run this script, get some output, but then also check to see, yep, did that pass or fail? True or false? What did I get back? So that all still works like expected. We got pre-build, now we have build. What's next? Start post-build tests. I basically just need to copy this whole thing. Post-build tests. One. Why did this become capitalized? I think it's just called post-build tests. Right. So we've got pre-build, post-build. Let's look at that function real quick. I think I want to change the folder that it outputs to. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter. Start post-build. See, it's got a parameter module name, but it's getting that automatically. So I'm good there. Creates the folder path to admin toolkit _build, and then just makes that folder. Copies the tests. So there's, let me open up this folder. Here's the module in GitHub. In the tests folder, these are basically the pre-build tests. They test the source code. And then after I build the module, I copy these build tests into that built directory. So these tests are for the built version. It copies them into this here. And they're not here now because my script auto deleted them. But then it runs those pester tests here. And they are designed for this context of just these two files. I think I'm going to keep that the way it is. All these references should be good. And then this also for the tests, same thing. We get all the pester output, but it only returns a true or a false. Output Boolean, this just returns true or false. So cool. Let me run that quick. Build, post-build tests. Oh, the test got removed, so there's no tests there to even. That's weird. We'll worry about that later. Start post-build tests. script here. Yep, admin toolkit. Invoke pester. Build module root. Oh yeah, so it's not running them because they're not there right now. So let me, well, you know what? Let me just delete this. Darn it. GitHub. Admin toolkit. Just delete this here. What is this? All right. So let's run. Run the pretests. That works. Make sure this file is saved. Let's run the build. Okay, so this build module is not getting the name. It should be admin toolkit _ build. So because it's not getting, does this really need to all be script? And then there's no, yeah, so. Change these. And I can get rid of this parameter. Obviously, I don't need it because it's script context. Probably have to do that with the rest of these. Is for module name, it'll just always have to be this script reference. And then I need to delete the parameter. This will make sense in a sec. This is build module. Yeah, let me fix this quick and prove it's working. Okay, I think I'm good. Okay. And we delete this. Rerun build. It should make admin toolkit. It's weird that it's not. Okay. Oh, duh. Okay. All right. Missed a reference. It's like it's not reloading. Oh, maybe I should add force to these. That would be good. So, it's not re-importing the module, but if I add force, it will. Even if it's already imported, it will re-import it and overwrite it. So even though I'm saving the module, it's not re-importing a newer version of this function because this session has already done it and imported it into that scope and blah, blah, blah. But if I add force, it'll always re-import it every time. Duh. Okay, so there's force there, force here, and force on this one. There we go. Now it took my changes. So we've got admin toolkit build, admin toolkit, but it did not copy over tests. I think that happens in the post. But it built the module correctly. So we go to admin toolkit build, BSM1, here it is. So that's good. Now we need to test it. So let's run post build. Post build tests. There we go. So this is exactly what we got before. Something's broken, but at least this test ran successfully, technically. And then returned false because one failed. If anything failed, Pester comes back and says failed. So that's good. So we got pre-build, build, post-build, the full pipeline. Should do the same thing here. First. Yeah, I guess I would want to break out. I no longer need this file. That's the whole pipeline. So I need to continue I need to pull out this confirm. Yeah. Confirm the version, which is just going to be the same format as all of these. What am I doing? Version check. And this will be okay, so that works. All these functions are written to just return true or false. So yeah, we do see that in this source code on my laptop or on this remote computer, I have a newer version. It doesn't live in GitHub, it just lives locally. And the PowerShell gallery has this version. So that check is working. And now I just need the release, just the actual publishing of the module. New file. Let's say publish. Publish this module, which I'm not going to do, but if we look at that function, I don't think it's got any references. We'll have to update this reference just like we did before, and then get rid of that parameter. Okay, that's done. And it gets this from GitHub. So I will need to include it as a parameter on this file. So many files. There we go. And publish this module. And then it will pass on what it gets from GitHub. Okay, cool. Save that. Close saved. What's not saved? Wow, I got a lot of these references to update. Module name. That one's done. got it here too. Oh, I'm not actually using this. This is sort of like a future thing that I'm not doing anything with this right now, but I'll still update it. Okay, test results. Does it have no parameter? Cool. Cool. And that's it. Okay. That is cool. Let's start from the beginning. Make sure status is fine. I think we updated this. Nope. I think I'm coming back here. Okay. That one's done. That one's good. And we've already fixed the rest. Okay, cool. Save the module file. So technically, I don't think we need this full version anymore because we've basically extracted these out into their own files and they work individually. So now I can do more GitHub workflow stuff where, oh, if this event happens, it's always on the pre-built version. So run the pre-build tests, you know, and then build, and that's all handled separately, not in just one monolithic file. So now that that's broken out, let me clean this up real quick. And delete this. Okay. Now we come into workflows. And so this is the original workflow that just ran build. I guess for sanity's sake, let's put this to what's technical full build. So it'll still work if I need it to. Full. Just for a template, I'm gonna copy this file. Pre-build tests. So on pull request, any pull request. Now I saw something online. I was looking at this PowerShell ARM module, PS ARM that just came out, which is pretty cool. And I looked at what do their pipelines look like? And I'd never seen this before. So you can define these stages. And so I would have a stage for pre-build test. And then I could have a stage for build. And that depends on the pre-build tests. And then I could have a post-build test, which depends on the pre-build test ran and the build ran successfully. So I can declare these dependencies, which I was basically doing in my if statements. But now I can just dynamically build these pipelines with whatever dependencies I want, because everything's broken out now. So I'm going to attempt to create some stages, which I've never done before. So it looks like stages, you just name the stage. If it depends on anything, you give it a dependency, but then the jobs format is the same. I've already got my my jobs, which is to run this PowerShell script. So let's do pre-build tests on pull request. Test source code. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to run these tests on every OS. So my pre-build tests should run on Ubuntu, Mac, and Windows. And then build depends on all three of those pre-tests passing. And then I want to build the module on every OS. So the post tests depend on all three builds passing. So, actually, I don't think I need to build on every OS, but The post test should also be ran on every OS. Yeah. Okay, so let's try this. So we've got, what was that? Just stages. And then I've got stage Ubuntu tests. Yeah. Let's indent all of this. There's no depends on. This doesn't depend on anything. Oh, I think I indented too far. There we go. So Ubuntu tests, it's going to run on Ubuntu latest, and this is actually going to be rebuild tests. There's no PowerShell key here. I'm going to copy this whole spiel. Property stages is not allowed. Did they import a schema or something? I need to do this. Have like a template for my stages or whatever. Stages is not allowed. So how do they do it here? They use this build and test YAML. I guess let's look at their actions first. I got a bunch here. Oh, because Azure is doing it. This is not a GitHub. Oh, that must be maybe some Azure syntax. I don't want to use Azure. Okay, maybe I can't do stages. GitHub. Oh, workflow. Oops. Oof. Gross. Okay. Needs. Oh, I could use this. Must be complete successfully before job 2 begins. Job 1, job 1, job 2. Oh, okay. I guess I'll just do it that way. I don't need stages then. I can still list out my dependencies. Get out of here. Pull request. They're like giving it a name. How are we doing? Oh, run is the name. So this is there. Okay, that's the name of the job. Okay, that's what I need to do. Duh. All right, so I've got my Ubuntu tests. I've got my I'll call this Linux Windows tests, and I believe this is just Windows latest. Source code. Linux, Windows, or I think that page told me what the, yeah, so I can use Windows latest, Ubuntu latest, and Mac OS latest. So that tells GitHub, make a container of the latest and greatest Mac OS. It'll have PowerShell installed. Check out my module, run this script. So it will run the tests on Mac OS. Yeah. But then, so now the next thing is I want to have another, like a build workflow, but that workflow depends on this workflow running successfully. So in GitHub, how do I reference? Don't need a trigger. Dependencies between workflows. Sweet. Okay. Test workflow. That's basically what I've got. And a separate workflow. All right. Release workflow will work when run test workflow. Oh, okay. So in my build, I would reference the tests workflow or whatever I named it. Pre-build tests. Okay. So let's make a quick file here. Build. Actually, I think this is probably fine. What will my trigger be? Oh, okay. When, okay. So build is going to be build on one is called, what's the name of this? I don't care what the branch is, whatever branch gets PR'd. Okay. That's the trigger, is once this is completed. What other? Okay, completed. I assume that means completed successfully. We're all green. Then it will run this job, which needs to just be build. No API key. Again, this can be built wherever. The build and post tests have to be done in the same container. I'm just realizing that. So I am going to have to build on every OS. Yeah, darn. Linux build. Now we're coming up short on time. Linux, check out repo, and then this would be build PS1. Steps. Nope. Oh, shoot. And so each one of these is going to have another run. Build. Post build. Yeah, because after it's built, it immediately needs to run the post build in that same container. So, hello, Core Bob. How's it going? I think this should still. Let me save this. Because the pre-build tests don't have to be run in the same context as the built module, but the build and post steps need to be run together. So we've got that. And then the release, I'm just worried about duplicating work. So if I did a release, that's going to have to, since it'll be in a different context, in a new container, right? A new Ubuntu container or whatever. I'll have to rebuild it in that container, which it doesn't take long. I'm technically building the module twice, one to test it and then rebuild. I would technically be building a module that wasn't tested. Technically. It was tested in a different container. I want to publish the build module that I know it built correctly. I guess for now this is enough just to see if these even work. So I've got a build pipeline. I don't have a release pipeline yet. to check out both of these. Can I? Nope, I can only check out one. I found in VS Code this awesome, like I can close issues, pull requests in GitHub and everything without leaving VS Code. Just very cool. But I think I'm gonna have to holy cow. Build. I don't need these. Ooh, I need to put back the before I commit this. Put this back to 1.0.9. There we go. All right. Restructure of pipeline madness. Sure. Okay, so now I've got some workflows. Got workflows. Let's do pre-build tests. Let's just can't I run these? Oh, they're not on demand. It's only on a pull request. I guess let's make a pull request quick. Got a branch here. SU for Linux. This is up to date. Shoot. Let me make a change quick. Where am I going? Git. Test change. Test PR. Let's go to the README. Probably need to change this README anyway. Anyway, okay. PowerShell module to assist system admins. Cool. Save that. SPR. Testing change. I can create a pull request right here. So it's doing this in GitHub, and I don't actually have to go to the website. So in GitHub, I'm making a PR from test PR into master, and I created it. So let's come out here. Because on pull request, I want it to run. It looks like it is. Okay, I want to turn this one off, I think. Yeah, I think I will. Test source code. Yeah, but basically I wanted to do all these. Test it on Linux, Windows, Mac. All right, they're failing, but let's run one. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so SU did not get exported. I think I need to change how I'm exporting my module commands. I think probably, I thought I saw someone else do this recently. Inside of each function file, like here, enable PS remoting. In this file, they have function enable, what is this, PS remoting? Or enable remoting. And then they just, in their built module, they've just got these export module member lines scattered all over the place. And then they don't have to, like right now, I have to manually keep this list updated. So on Linux, the manifest says there should be an SU command, but in the file, I've added the check where if it's Linux, don't even load the function. So I should, yeah, so I may need to test that here. But it ran the tests. Didn't the Windows one have worked? Oh, the Windows one did work. Oh, perfect. Cool. So that did work. This is exactly what I want. When someone makes a pull request, run all the tests. But it did not, this is the full release pipeline. Oh, maybe I didn't update that. Oh, this is exactly what I want. I just, not everything's updated. Well, I'll save this work for next week. We'll continue this and finish this up. Because this is cool to have. One of the big obstacles people run into with making tools is automating all the maintenance that goes on with this. So I want all my testing to be done. If people want to collaborate on this, you can fork it and make a pull request. I want to have automated testing done. It's going to run these tests. So I don't have to check that, things like that. So, anyway, yeah, we'll continue this for next time and go from there. So thanks so much. I know we didn't actually finish it, but we're making a lot of progress. So I'll save this for next week. So tune in then. Thanks for tuning in. Follow me on all the things and have a great rest of your week, guys. Thank you so much. See ya.